In Chapter 2 of Extending Art of Illusion, we look at the concept of setting preferences. Um, now, these preferences are things that you might decide that you want to add to the list of preferences that you can set up for the tool. So you might add something that would turn some feature on or turn it off. In the example that I give in the book, it's actually hiding the animation score, um, in particular because I there was a time that I didn't want to see the animation score, and it came up automatically, so I wanted to turn it off automatically. Um, of course, may not always want that turned off, so you, you and you don't necessarily want to um, load the plugin that does that each time that you want that feature turned on or off, and then have to unload it when you want to go the other way. You'd rather have a checkbox or something like that. Now there's really not a whole lot to um, demonstrate here, but there's quite a bit of code here that um, we can talk about a little bit. Um, First thing you'll notice here is that this really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the art of illusion itself. It it mainly has to do with um, Java I/O rather than the art of illusion packages. Now the features that you turn on and off, of course, they will be coming out of art of illusion, and so you will be importing um, things from art of illusion, but the the features that or the things that they're actually doing the work are actually from Java I/O because we're actually writing to a file and we're loading from a file. Um, and these are things that you will normally do with Java. So it's if you're familiar with Java, then um, this is nothing new to you. It's just putting it within the framework of Art of Illusion so that it will actually work. Um, so we have this class that's called Score Preferences. Um, this, we have this constructor here. Um, and of course, it starts out it's setting the preference for the hide or show for the score. Um, we come in here, we open the file, and in this case if we if it doesn't exist, we go ahead and create a new file. Um, so we get down here to the we'll go ahead and try to load the preferences. Now, if we've just created it, there won't be anything there, of course, but we'll load the preferences and go on. Um, as far as loading the preferences, there's not a whole lot to that. We're just taking the properties and loading them in. Um, so we have these properties that of course we save them off at some point, and so we have this two-step process where one side of it is we save it off, and the other side is we load it back in. Of course, they always have to match up. If they don't, then we have problems. Um, but whatever properties we set up, we want to save those off and load those back in, and then when we load them back in, we just take what we load back in and set whatever they are. Um, Depending on what it is that you're loading or whatever it is you're trying to store. Um, you may have to do different things to get it to work. Um, and of course, there's another file here that is the actual plug-in for this. It's fairly simple. Um, of course, it's called Preferences Plugin. It implements plugin. Um, we have a here we're implementing a runnable that is basically just a thread out there that will either hide or show the score. Um, and this is something that it depends on what you want to do. You may or may not want to use a thread to do that. If you're doing something with a script, then you probably don't want to be using a thread like that. But with a plugin, you're able to do that fairly easily. And of course, you have to have a process message that in here. There's not anything, not much here. There's just this scene window created. You're not you don't have to deal with a lot of messages in this type of a plugin because there's not much to it. But that's pretty much it for what we're doing in chapter 2 of Extending Art of Illusion.